What's up, everybody? It's Supersmallchibiwolf here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the PlayStation 5. And the console's box is too big, and the other console itself is in a setup, and I don't want to mess up my setup. So here's the controller itself. If you're interested in watching the unboxing, I'll have a little card on this side. Now, the PlayStation 5 is one of those consoles that I heard a lot of people say it's about to get delayed this year. It should have gotten delayed. A lot of controversial stuff like how some stores are having, what was it, many items being canceled due to, canceling the pre-orders and stuff like that, and suspicious actions online, buying stuff and resellers and a bunch of random stuff. So I was like, holy shit, that's fucking crazy. But today I'm just going to be reviewing the console itself. Now, in my opinion, number one, let me just say what I said on the Game & Watch video. For those people who really want it, I really do hope you get it because, seeing how the world is, it's kind of boring, a lot of things closing down. Society. So I think it's really cool to have a next gen consoles and all of that. But I will be honest. I try to be honest with my reviews. Doesn't matter if it's anime or product, gaming, etc. See my Final Fantasy VII Remake video if you want to really see how deep I will go for the truth. Despite me loving Final Fantasy VII, the original and the characters being a few of my favorite characters in all of RPGs or JRPGs, that entire genre, I was still honest. But with that being that, I'll continue on with the PlayStation 5. In my opinion, the PlayStation 5, it was pretty cool, I'd say the first point let's talk about is the controller, That's the first thing I want to talk about because that's the first thing I had. So, the controller reminds me of a Nintendo Switch Pro controller, but while holding it, it has more of a swirl on the handles, on the end of the handles. I don't like that much the vibration so much. It's nice, but besides that, I would say it's something to get used to. I had it more than a week, the PlayStation 5, and, I had to get used to it somewhat, but to be honest, 100%, it's really not my thing, and I will be doing a which is better between PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and one thing I want to say is, controller wise, like how it feels, gameplay wise, it is somewhat more interesting, like getting more of the features. Like, for example, when you walk in or swimming in water, you could feel somewhat of that stuff. But one thing that I would say is, overall, I prefer PlayStation 4 over PlayStation 5 controller. So in a way, I would say it's a little bit of a downgrade because even look, some people enjoy the big design, like the chunky design of the controller, like that. But in my opinion, that is okay. It's really not my thing, and that's me being generous. I don't like just all out hate on things. So I just say it's okay. Overall, if I would pick this or the Switch controller, which is basically similar, I'd say this is bad and that would be good. I'd even say, like, what was there's other consoles with big controllers. Like, for example, the Sega Dreamcast had a big controller, I remember, and I'd say it's similar to that feeling. It's good, or GameCube or whatever, other big controllers. Now, it's not the worst big controller, but I'd say it's an okay controller. Good in some ways because I was testing out that game called Dreams and that robotic game where you play like robots and all that, and it was pretty interesting and good in that way. So I wouldn't say I hate this controller, because I've tested out similar things, with this controller, and it's pretty good in some ways. So I'll leave it like that. Not my favorite PlayStation controller, like overall the PlayStation controls in the family of PlayStation. It's not my favorite, but it's okay. It's nice. Now, moving on from the controller, let's talk about another issue that I want to talk about before forgetting is the bugs. Now, I heard many people say there are bugs, but in my experience, I haven't had any issues. The backwards capability works great with the PlayStation 4 games. If you did not know, PlayStation 5 plays PlayStation 4 games, and that's probably the reason why it was 600 plus tax. the backwards capability now. But in my opinion, to be honest, and maybe some people might say, yeah, you're joking, right? Yeah, you're full of shit. But what if, like, look, I understand, this is next gen hardware to play the last gen. But in my opinion, I think it would have been better if Sony said, okay, you could play PlayStation 3 games instead of PlayStation 4 games. Because, look, yeah, I understand that a lot of people like having a lot of consoles in their, setup and stuff like that. I understand that. But in my opinion, me, even if it had like, you know, what was it? It has PS4 games. Me, I keep my consoles. I know some people sell them to get money for the newest ones, but in my opinion, that's not me. That's not my thing. I would have liked it if I found it interesting if they did like PS3 backwards capability. That would be pretty cool. Now, next thing I want to say is that the online itself is pretty cool, but I'll be honest, like, I enjoy, how it looks, the interface, and pretty cool, nice. And oh yeah, one thing about the controller I forgot to mention is, um, it basically is a speaker around here, and it's low quality. I'd say okay again, because some people enjoy it. So I would say, you know what, I'd say okay, you know. But in my opinion, it's eh. And then also, it has like that thing you could plug in the headset and stuff. So that's another good thing, you know. But moving on from that, I would say the console itself. I like how it lights up between, but overall, I'd say just like the controller, this is not the best looking PlayStation. No way. It looks fucking weird. And yeah, it's like someone took a Nintendo Wii, someone took a PlayStation 3 and just stuck it together to see what the fuck comes up. And with the edges being the PS4, where you know how the PS4 had like more of a sharp edges compared to the PS5. So it's similar to that, with the edges. So it has like the look of a PS3, the feel or DNA of a with the weird design and the sharp edges of a PS4. So it's basically a weird mix. It's like an alien, you know. So that's what I think about the look. Console itself lights up pretty cool. It's pretty quiet. I enjoy that it's quiet. A lot of people, some people always set it up horizontally, vertically. But in my opinion, I love it being vertically, standing up, because it looks more cool. And yeah, I keep it next to my desk when I play. The PlayStation, what I do like it also is that in the back, in the cables and shit, all that, you can see the PlayStation shapes, and it's pretty cool. A little added thing, having the shapes there. It's nice. But another thing I want to say is from the game play itself. When you sign into a PlayStation account, you can have your profile trophies, games, and all that stuff transferred, over, PS4, PS5, and it reminds me of how something how Nintendo does. I like that. That's pretty cool. These companies kind of catching on how to do good things, learning from each other. And the first game I played was Street Fighter 5, and to check out the backwards capability and all that. It's pretty cool. Also, I put a PS1 disc inside of a PS5, and it's like putting it in the like putting a PS3 disc inside of a PS4. It just comes up not readable and stuff like that. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that in just in case someone was interested. Now, the new technology and interface, I would say, it's pretty cool. I like it. And in a way, I love it because, for example, you press the middle button, gives you options, party, friends, messages, and all these things. And I like the convenience of it all. Now, one interesting thing is Game Boost. This lets PS4 VR games get improved features like faster frame rates and more consistent resolution. And I think it is great, but I don't see myself really using the PlayStation 5 for PlayStation 4 games unless it's like Street Fighter 5 or Yeah, pretty much that's fighting games like Street Fighter 5, maybe King Fighters 14, and yeah, pretty cool. Just that stuff. Now, if you did not know, PlayStation 5 supports 4K 120 frames per second. You would need a television that supports that to get the best experience. And a lot of people, I've heard say, "Oh, this is a PlayStation 5. I thought it was gonna be better, this and that, blah blah blah." And then you ask, "What TV you have?" And yeah, they don't have the 4K TVs. They have lower resolution TVs, and I've seen a lot of people feel confused about that. And when I explained it to them and showed actual proof, say, "Hey, look it up, the resolution of the PlayStation 5 and stuff like that," they kind of was like, "Oh, okay, I need to get a new TV then." You know what I mean? So that's a small thing that I wanted to bring up as well, because it seems to confuse some people, who I spoken to. Now, the PlayStation 5 has a ultra high SSD which loads games way faster than PS4, and it's like it's the load time, and it's a cool feature. I like it. I noticed it right away, and it made me happy to see, like, oh shit, there's actually some really great shit here. You know, I remember, what was it? From going from PS3 to PS4, there was a big, like, oh shit, there's an actual difference that I noticed right away visually. And then going from PS4 to PS5, I noticed the visually, I noticed like the faster reloads, I noticed a lot of good shit. And I would say overall, this is a really cool console. Now I love the PlayStation, the ray tracing and all that of the PlayStation, and how, for example, the way it what was it? Because ray tracing, if you did not know, it basically uh is the way the light within the game is individually simulated to give the effect of realistic things like water. You can see the characters, reflections, and it's really cool stuff like that. And I would say, uh, you know, it's a really cool thing. I played games of first party PlayStation games, exclusives that have it, and I like it. It's a good thing to see, and if it's a good game too, overall makes the experience more fun. But and this technology is expensive, so I don't think a lot of big third party game. Well, a lot of mm, because when I think about third party gaming, some companies are kind of assholes, and they tend to kind of not use the fullest features sometimes. For example, I remember the PS4, there was some, what was it, some companies that won't as you know dare to take advantage of the technology compared to other companies. I'd say like Capcom, Square Enix are two companies that come to mind that actually took advantage of the PS4 and stuff like that, what it's capable of. And then other companies, I forget the names, but yeah, it was okay, but I was in like the beginning life cycle. So maybe it's something like right here, maybe it's the beginning life cycle of the PlayStation 5, and you ray tracing all that. Not all the companies are going to, give in to make more expensive games like that to take advantage of that. And I hope later on, there's more games that actually have stuff like that, take advantage of what the PS5 is capable of. I think that would be pretty cool. Now, if you did not know, PlayStation 5 also, not all PlayStation 5s are like this, and a lot of people are kind of, I heard maybe people say, make it like a big deal or something like this, but it has to do with like the issues, like the coil whine or like a buzzing sound from the PlayStation consoles. Now, many people have complained about this, and in my experience, I did not have this. Many people also complained about PlayStation 5's freezing games, and games being frozen and stuff like this. In my opinion, me, I didn't experience this, but in my opinion, I think Sony should put this shit together, because what the fuck you doing, man? You spending all this money in a console, and this stuff is happening. No way. In my opinion, that's something that should not be defended, because it doesn't matter if who does it. You know what I mean? If someone's buying a product with the money that they worked so hard to get, it should work right away. And yes, I understand. You know, what was it? it's a new console. They're working on bugs, and I hope Sony's giving refunds or exchanging those consoles because I know some companies say, "Well, fuck you." You know, I had to go through, what was it, two PS4 controllers, and when I called up, I was like, "Oh shit!" Then a sale happened, and I got two for 20. So it was really cool. But yeah, long story short, I hope Sony is exchanging these consoles because I remember the Nintendo Switch having that Joy-Con drift, and I got mine exchanged for free. So that was pretty cool of Nintendo to do, and I hope Sony's doing the same thing. You know, if the PS5s and controls itself are acting up. Next thing I want to say, overall, well, I recommend the PlayStation 5, but I would say maybe wait for it to be because I recommend it, but what I'm seeing a lot of times nowadays is people buying third party, from third party stores like online and stuff like that, and they paying like 1,600 plus tax and I mean what was it, 900 and all, like crazy prices. Just look online yourself and you'll see the insanity what people's trying to do. $3,000 for a PS5? Hell no, do not buy that. You know, so what I recommend doing is waiting it out. Nowadays, see it like this. A lot of people, they dealing with some issues. And system wise, and there's not so many big titles yet. So I think waiting it out would be a good idea. If you're planning to do this, like get this console. Long story short, I think the PlayStation 5 is really cool. It's really nice. I wouldn't say it's my favorite console, but I would say it's a pretty cool console. And overall, I would say, yeah, I recommend the PlayStation 5. It's pretty cool. So with that being that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, bye.